My name is John Passfield, and the title of this reading will be John and Santa, the Cowboy Shirt, Video 12, John's Family Christmases, Part 2. So I did 4 of his family Christmases as he has these visions while he's riding along with Santa in the sleigh in a previous video, and I'm doing 4 more in this video. So here is the cover. John and Santa, the Cowboy Shirt, a novella by John Passfield. That's me, a little younger than I am right now. An elementary school photo. As writer John Passfield is driving home from a December book discussion meeting, I think about the Christmas topics that were discussed, in particular Dickens, who wrote a novella that transformed the world's conception of Christmas. John suddenly finds himself sitting in a sleigh pulled by Rudolph and 8 tiny reindeer. What an excellent opportunity to ask Santa but a 70-year-old puzzle, the mystery of the missing cowboy shirt. Well, they talk about a lot more than just the cowboy shirt as they ride along a couple of weeks before Christmas all over the world in Santa's sleigh. As John is riding beside Santa in the sleigh, touring the world a few weeks before Christmas Eve, as I said, he has visions of his own past Christmases. So let's go to page 49 here. Whoops. Here it is. And John's vision. Or memory, he's not sure. The little house on Harmony Road in Ancaster, Ontario. Just my wife and I at first. Then the 3 boys came along. Many memories cling to that house. My wife would decorate every corner, every nook and niche and mantel with decorations of Christmas and winter and family things. We had a fireplace in the living room, but no fires on the night when Santa would arrive. Then we go a couple of pages over. Mostly memories of our oldest boy in the little house in Ancaster. He was 5 when we made the move to Cayuga. The other 2 boys were 3 and just arrived. We'd go out to a farm and buy a Christmas tree, put it up in the living room, have our own little Christmas on Christmas morning. And then the whole little house would be full on Christmas afternoon. All the Passfields and the Murrays, that's my wife's maiden name, of course, under one roof. That was the house of the reindeer teeth and the house of the boy Santa hidden under the snow-white beard. Well, those are 2 stories that actually happened while we were living in that house, and which are told in this novella. And we'd go to church for the service on Christmas Eve. And Christmas is always white. Always plenty of snow in those days. Always shoveling and great big snow tires on the car. A wonderland of white. Or does it only seem that way? Christmas days on Harmony Road were the same as a dream. Well, that's the little house in Ancaster. Moving closer to the present day, we go on to another chapter and to page 58. Here it is. Well, this is where we live now. Our house for 41 years. Bought a woodlot and had a house built years ago. Our 3 boys grew up in this house. Now our grandchildren come to visit. Rural Route 5, Cayuga, Ontario. Too many memories to count. Many stages over the years. Many people have been in this house at Christmas time and all year who are not alive now. Okay, and then keeping with the same house, same memory, we had a pond, which we still have, and we would skate out there for hours. The kids would all bring friends and play and never seemed to get tired. Hot chocolate while I blew the snow off the rink. I rigged up lights so the kids could play out there in the dark. And we always heated with wood, so there was plenty of wood to stack. I had a tractor and a chainsaw and a trailer. We would all pitch in and stack the wood in the cellar, and then rub our hands as the kindling blazed in the stove. And Christmases were bountiful. My wife would prepare for days. She would decorate the house, still does, with all the artwork that the kids had made in school over the years. And the table would groan with plenty. Help yourself and take a seat. When everyone was seated, we'd say a prayer for what we were about to receive. May we be truly thankful. Then we'd all dig in and eat our Christmas feast. 30 people in that house, old slides of Christmases gone by. All the Christmases that are pleasant memories now. Our house won't be full in a couple of days. COVID will see to that, but our kids and grandkids are planning to make it home. Things are getting bad again. New restrictions for travel and distancing and masks are being recommended on every newscast. Just my wife and I, if COVID gets much worse. Well, that's December 2021, if you're thinking of the history of COVID. 67, 68. We move on to the next chapter. Well, this Christmas doesn't look so good. It'll still be Christmas for sure, but it'll be a little curtailed. Whoops, get the page right here. Darn it. Okay, got it. COVID-19 has put a crimp in what we all think of as the way to celebrate the holiday. It's been 2 years of restricted gatherings, all to try to break the back of the raging pandemic. Our book discussion group used to meet every second Thursday of each month until COVID-19 came along. And since then, we've only had 3 summer meetings, all outside, and only recently were we able to meet inside. So after 2 years of not meeting, we all wear masks to enter the room, we all show our vaccination certificates, we all sit 6.5 feet apart, and we don't have tea or coffee or anything to eat. And now this new variant, Omicron, is turning the whole world back to what it was. To gather in groups, as we always do at Christmas, is the worst thing during a pandemic that people can do. So that's a little history now, because it's a year later. COVID is still with us, but the restrictions have all changed. So my wife is getting ready. She has the house all decorated, as she always does every year. She has invited our 3 sons and their families to come. Blake and his family make 3, Adam and his family 3 more, and Craig and his family make another 4. Every day the rules are changing. Every night on the news it gets worse, COVID that is. They would be breaking into each other's circles of safety if the kids all came. Maybe for safety it's better that no one comes this year. If so, it'll be my wife and I, as we were in Barbados that year. Just the 2 of us at Christmas time again. Well, that's what COVID and other terrible things do to family life and to the holiday spirit. Let's go to chapter 9, the last chapter in which John sees or remembers or daydreams these Christmases past, borrowing the idea from Dickens, of course, Christmas past. I just don't want to let go of that memory or vision or apparition or whatever it was. We had a pond, and I had a snowblower, and I fixed up a set of lights so the kids could play hockey long after it got dark. They could put their skates on in the basement and clump up the wooden stairs and across the frozen lawn and skip out on the ice and drop the puck and stick handle and practice shooting into these 2x4 nets that I made. They would invite their friends from school or church. Many of the kids were the same, and play for hours out on the rink we had on our pond. And Christmas Day, after dinner, we parents were all in our late 30s and early 40s in those days. Our 2 families and our friends would all bring their skates and sticks, and we would all go out the rink and have a game of shinny. 12 players or more, all flailing away trying to put the old puck in the net. And years afterwards, I would find beat-up pucks in the long grass around the edge of the pond, which had skipped off the rink and landed in the snow. But we always had lots of pucks. The girls would all play hockey too, or practice their figure skating moves as the boys went whirling by. And then the last reference is this one. And afterwards, when we finished skating or snowshoeing or cross-country skiing through the trails that the kids and I had made through the woods, we would all come into the house, a couple of dozen of us or more. I would put a few more logs on the fire, and we would have hot chocolate or a beer or a glass of wine and watch the Queen give her Christmas message from Sandringham or wherever she used to have Christmas with her family. And then there might be a hockey or a football game on TV, and then gradually, as the evening wore on, the little ones would drop off to sleep on the rug in front of the stove, and each family would pack up the presents and sort through their coats and hats and mittens on the bed and the tangle of boots at the kitchen door and go out into the brisk night air and warm up their frigid cars and wave goodbye and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And we'd shiver and go back in the house and find for sure that they'd left a present or two or a hat or some mittens behind. And that's how we used to spend Christmas at our house near Cayuga, in the house that we still live in now, on the Christmas days of those years so long ago. So whether he's sitting beside Santa, riding around the world, whether they're memories or visions or he's daydreaming, he's not really sure. There's nothing more sure than the passage of time. I've been a member of 2 families during my lifetime. I was a baby, a little boy, a teenager, and a youth in my first family. That consisted of my dad, my mom, my brother, my sister, myself, the grandparents who were living during my lifetime, a number of uncles and aunts, and some cousins who were the children of my parents' siblings. My second family, was the family of my wife and I, which consisted of the 2 of us and our 3 boys. This included my parents, my wife's parents, and our brothers and sisters and their families. So our 2 houses, one in Ancaster, Ontario, and one on our woodlot near Cayuga, Ontario, were quite full on Christmas Day. This was me as a young father, as a middle-aged father of older boys and then younger men, and then me as a grandfather, as our boys married and had children and brought them home for the Christmas celebration. I still consider myself to be a part of that second family, though I'm a widower now. A single grandparent at these Christmas gatherings, my wife having died during the spring of 2022, so after I wrote this novella, but before it was published. As I get older, it's the continuity that I value. I remember my Christmases past, the Christmas when my mom lost, mysteriously, the cowboy shirt that she thought I would be so pleased to be able to wear, the Christmas when I received the cowboy shirt, that is shown on the front cover. Here it is again. So 2 different cowboy shirts, one I received, one I didn't, at 2 different Christmases. And all of the Christmases that I remember and wrote about as John travels around the world in Santa's sleigh, we all have 2 modes of thought at every moment of our lives. We think in the present moment as life is happening, and we think in the past as life has happened to us. The combination of the imagery of the moment and the imagery of memory constitutes our thoughts. And that is why I structure my novels and novellas the way that I do, as a constant interaction between present moment and past moment imagery. In the novella, Santa tells John that every Christmas in his life is happening at the same time. What this means to me is that when we think of a memory, that memory becomes a present moment image. So in a way that is similar to the life of Santa, our whole lives are happening in our minds at the same time all the time. So once again, here is the novella, John and Santa, the cowboy shirt. There's more information on Amazon where you can purchase it. There's more information at my publisher's website, rocksmellspress.com. There's more information in the form of 2 free books that you can call up on the screen, a planning notebook and a journal, wherein I discuss all the interesting topics that a book like this causes one to think about. So lastly, thank you for watching this video.